Okay, so this video is going to be about implementing a cost leadership strategy. So the deal with the cost leadership strategy is you've got to cut costs as much as you possibly can in every single area. So remember those questions. What was your intended strategy? Mine was cost leadership. What was your actual strategy? In other words, did you achieve the competitive advantage that you were seeking? I'll look at the action capture camera benchmarks to tell you the answer to that. If you'll look, you'll see that my total camera production and assembly cost per unit is $119.59. Okay, so yes, I'm the cost leader on the camera. While we're here, we'll also look at the operating profits. I have above average operating profits in North America, Europe, Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin America. So I want you to take this point very carefully. Just because you're the cost leader, that does not mean that you have to have the lowest margins, okay? I'm the cost leader, having great market share, maintaining a good margin. It's not about the price, people, okay? Let's look at the drone. On the drone, my total cost was $667.63, which is the lowest in the industry. Again, looking at margins, I've got above average margins in North America, Europe, Africa, Asia Pacific. In fact, in Asia Pacific, I have the best margins, and also in Latin America, I have the best margins, okay? A couple of things I want to point out for you. Notice my number of installed workstations and workstation spaces. In both of my facilities, I installed workstations and expanded my spaces and put in more additional workstations, okay? Remember, if you're doing cost leadership, it's about economies of scale. So not only is it about cutting your cost as much as you possibly can, but it's also about getting bigger so that you can achieve the economies of scale. Looking at the way I designed the product, these things here are more expensive than these things here, okay? So what did I do? I put less of these and more of these into my camera. I kept the 4.0 PQ rating to prove a point. You don't have to decrease your PQ rating if you're running cost leadership. Over on the drone side, I decreased some inputs, increased some other inputs, kept my 4.0 PQ rating, okay? Notice I also trimmed R&D expenditures. I completely eliminated them in the camera facility and spent $6 million over here for next year in the drone facility. For action capture camera marketing, my goal was to be above average on advertising expenditures, to hold the line on price, to try to keep my margins where they had been. So what did I do? I'm Team H here. I kept the price exactly the same, but look at my advertising expenditures. I spent 23.7% above average on retailer support, 17% above average on advertising, 54% above average, okay, on my website displays. I promoted the heck out of it, right? 6 weekly discounts at 15%. I kept my warranty coverage at the minimum, okay. On the drone, look at how much above average I am here on my expenditures, okay? So is it any wonder that I got such great market share? 14.4% and 16% respectively in North America. Look at Europe, Africa, it's 14.9, 16.3. Asia Pacific, 16.2% and 16.6%. Okay, despite the fact that I went up on the price in Asia Pacific and Latin America. If you'll recall, the price last year or in year 5 was $10.50. So I went up to $1,100. Okay, so you see I've got great market share everywhere. Okay, what else did I do? On my compensation and facilities, I expanded the factory. Last year I put in 60 additional workstations. I put in 40 additional workstation spaces, which gave me 340 and 340 last year. This year, because I'm increasing marketing expenditures again, I'm doing an expansion. I'm putting in 100 spaces and 100 workstations. In my drone facility, I'm putting in 40 spaces and 40 stations, okay? I'm not maxing out my factory's capacity. I'm not going with overtime, okay? I wanted to pay the 2% that my workers expect, okay, as an increase. I wanted to give them the assembly quality incentive. I boosted that a little bit. I wanted to give them an attendance bonus that was better than the industry average, and I wanted to give them fringes that were better than the industry average. And I also did some productivity and improvement training, and I implemented the robotics upgrade. It's saving me this year about $1.2 million. For corporate citizenship, I only did the worker benefit programs, but I also implemented the supplier code of conduct. Okay, if you'll remember from a chapter 4 lecture, this is one thing that cost leadership strategies, those implementing a cost leadership strategy, can do that will improve their cost structure. It will make things cost less. Over on finance and cash flow, last year I bought back 200,000 shares of stock. This year I'm buying back 446,000. I'm paying an 80-cent dividend this year, whereas last year I paid a 60-cent dividend. Again, I'm paying off some of this high interest debt, 7.5% and 6.5%. I'm replacing it with 5.7%. Okay, notice what that does to my debt to equity ratio. It's 65-35, which is about as far as I really would like to go to maintain a decent credit rating, a 2-to-1 debt to equity ratio. Okay, my current ratio improves, my interest coverage ratio improves. Okay, so those are the things that I did last year, and now you know the guts of my cost leadership strategy, so you can, if you choose, you're welcome to implement the same strategy. The point with these videos is I want you taking a look at the way that things work together, the way that you make your product, get your costs down, okay, the way that you market the product, get your sales up. When your sales go up, you need a bigger factory, okay? When you get a bigger factory, you have to pay for that factory, okay? So it's all about those natural resources, human resources, capital resources. You've got to manage those effectively, okay? So I hope this video helps you.